Good morning, class.
Good morning, Mr. Gomez.
I can't hear you guys.
Good morning, Mr. Gomez.
Alright, today we're going to be identifying character traits in the novel The Good Soldier. The Good Soldier was published in 1915, just after World War I, and at the height of the literary impressionist movement. The literary impressionist movement was a movement that sought to show impressions of characters rather than focus on the plots of the stories. So with these descriptions focus more on character, and for that reason I chose them. The book was written by Ford Maddox Ford, and what he sought to do was show the negative characteristics that weren't commonly displayed by most literature in the early 1900s. So we're going to jump right into it. These are two descriptions of Edward Ashburnham, and first we're going to identify his traits, and then we're going to infer certain things about the story and Edward. So, would anyone like to read the first quote? Yes, Beth?
Edward Ashburnham was the cleanest-looking sort of chap, an excellent magistrate, a first-rate soldier, one of the best landlords, so they said, in Hampshire, England. To the poor and to hopeless drunkards, as I myself have witnessed, he was like a painstaking guardian. Okay, good. So before we want to assume anything about Edward as a character, we want to pick out any words that are maybe too difficult to understand or that you don't know. Any questions? Yes, Sawyer.
What is a magistrate?
A magistrate is a public official, so it's anyone who regulates the laws. It's most commonly a judge, but it can also be a police officer. It's someone who regulates the laws for the state.
Thanks.
Grayson?
What about painstaking?
Painstaking. So painstaking is an adjective for someone that's caring, conscientious, and so in the story they said he was a painstaking guardian, and that means that he was a caretaker for the hopeless drunkards and the poor.
Okay, thank you.
So now that we have all the definitions, would anyone like to take a stab at what the description is saying about Edward? Yes, Beth?
Well, I think it means that Edward's a respectable person and that the author thinks very highly of him.
Yes. I think what's key here are the adjectives. Would you like to pick out the adjectives that stood out to you that show this? Yeah?
I like excellent and cleanest.
Okay. Excellent. That's a good one. Cleanest. Best. Painstaking. These are all really great adjectives. And so basically, these show a very positive attitude towards Edward Ashburnham. This is at the beginning of the story, and it's one of the first impressions we get of Edward. The next one is a little bit more on the dark side, and it has to go with the impressionist theory of changing impressions and constantly throwing these impressions of characters on you, so that you have so that you don't just fall for the first account. Would someone like to read this? Yes, Quinn?
It is, I have no doubt, a monstrous thing to corrupt a young girl just out of convent, but I think Edward had no idea at all of corrupting her. He said that was the way of it, and I at least believe him.
Yeah, Sawyer.
We can infer that Edward, by society's standards, was not always acting honorably or in the best way, but that the narrator still regarded him highly, and still, he says, I at least believed him. So he looks at him in a positive way.
Good. That's exactly right. Grayson, what's up?
Can we do the chant now?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing it. Okay, listen up, world. We got something to say.
Mr. Gomez taught us. We learned it today.
When we're reading, we have to make sure
To look out for hidden meaning that we can infer.
All right, all together now.
Listen up, world. We got something to say. Mr. Gomez taught us. We learned it today. Whenever we're reading, we have to make sure to look out for hidden meaning that we can infer.
Let's
Hey!